Looks like we're back in here, so I'm glad you could join me. My lovers, viewers, friends, supporters, subscribers, group hugging, all that good stuff, guys. So that Colossi is done. And we're gonna get into doing the next Colossi, which should be Colossi 14. Whatever its name is. I don't know what I know what their names are. I can look their names up. I just don't care. Well, I could look up which ones they're named. I probably will, and then I'll include it in the description where I'm like,
thy next foe is a guardian set loose. A closed-off city beyond the channel. It lusts for destruction.
oh my, how frightening! I am scared, my friends. Are we good now? Okay, so the thing with this one is that they fucking simply recycled an earlier Colossus model that we've already encountered. I think they might modified it a little bit, like as far as its character design goes, but it's really just the same motherfucking Colossi. So at the beginning of a new session, always appreciated, not a new session, a new video, because I'm going to chop these up into parts as far as it pertains to the Colossus, and then I can have it in the description, like which Colossus I'm working on type thing. So, yeah, like and subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It's always appreciated. Thanks ahead of time. And we're gonna head off to the 14th Colossi. We're gonna fuck him up. We're gonna ruin his motherfucking day. Okay? That's what the whole plan is. So, continuing what I was talking about. So I was on this 3-week contract job doing help desk. My very first week, like, seriously, I got a fucking cold. I got sick. I don't know what it was, really. I just got really fucking sick. Like, sore throat, fever. It was terrible. Like, yo, even if, I didn't even know it was looking back, I knew from that first week, just looking at that first week, I wouldn't have gotten the fucking job because I got sick. That did not look good at all. And I hadn't been sick in a while. Like, everybody was sick at my previous job, but my first week of being at that job, I got fucking sick. So that was not really good at all. That didn't look good at all. I'm sure I could have powered through it more efficiently and left a better impression on them. Like, oh, well, I was there. I mean, I was sick, but I was there. So I ended that final week with waking up at like 4 a.m. with a ruptured eardrum. Like, I just woke up and it was just like my eardrum ruptured. And I had blood coming out of my ear. And it was not cool. So I went to work. And, I was worried that, it could get infected or something. So I got to work, and then I just, like, after, like, 2 hours or waiting for the main manager to show up, I was like, my eardrum ruptured. I probably should get this taken care of. So I left and went to the hospital, and I shouldn't even bothered with the hospital, honestly. I mean, they gave me antibiotics, so that's good. But, that really, it fucking sucked. Hopefully I'm going in the right direction. I think I am. I gotta... this way, I think? Let me look. Okay, we're good. So... the ruptured eardrum... Okay, yeah, so that first week was fucked up. And, I just finished with the rest of the job. I didn't do very good. If I was doing anything during the day that I wasn't learning, I'd pretty much given up at that point and trying to get better at doing anything. I didn't really care to talk to anybody on the phone the whole time. it just sucked, and like I said, I still didn't realize until well after that point that I had already lost interest in information technology. I just didn't, like, I kind of started to have the suspicion, and then it didn't really start to get cemented yet just then. So, you know, I got through the job. I finished the job, and you know, then it ended the week before July 4th, the weekend or the week, whichever one. You know, when everybody does their festivities bullshit, and you know, we were just like, okay, so. I remember I left that day, and I'm like, yeah, they were negotiating on, you know, pay rates and all that good stuff. So, you know, I was just like, okay, cool, I'll wait to hear back then. And I didn't hear anything at all. Nothing. I did not hear nothing. And then the other guy that I was working with just called me out of nowhere, like a week or two later, and was like, hey, I got this job lead for you if you want it. But it was like twice the distance from where I was to get to that job. And I was like, no, that's way too far away. That's like not even worth it for me. You know, I could barely tolerate just getting to that job, and it took me about half hour, about 45 minutes. It's funny because it was in the same area as a previous job I had that year before. So I was like, oh, hey, did you hear about that job? And he's like, oh, yeah, I got the job. I was so bitter and salty. Oh, that shit was infuriating. But I didn't say anything. Oh, okay, cool. So I just did my best to keep it short and hurry up and quickly end the phone call and get back about my business and whatever. So, you know, that fucking sucked. And it didn't help at all because I knew I needed that fucking job, because it kept me from being fucked up, because I forget at some point right after I got the job, let me see, I can't remember if it was before, I think it was right before I got the job. And right before I got the job, I went to a Del the Funky Homo Sapiens show in Chicago, you know, right before that. I don't remember how soon before that, but it was before that point. And, you know, I went on my first date for the first time in, you know, quite some time. You know, it went pretty well, I think. They, you know, we were able to, you know, we enjoyed each other's company. And, you know, I'm pretty sure she wanted a little bit more out of it. And, you know, right after that, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 days after that, I found out my ex-girlfriend of 8 years got married. And that was devastating because, I mean, like, all that time, since, you know, everything losing friends, and since we had not really spoken, all I did was really turn my attention to getting a job, finishing college, and moving out on my own. So I really didn't have any focus on social life or dating or anything. Like, it wasn't really a priority because when we had last finished talking, you know, she was just like, you know what? Don't talk to me until you have a job and you've moved out on your own. So I was like, okay, you know what? Cool. So every time I'd get a job, I'd be like, hey, I got a job. And she'd be like, well, are you moved out on your own yet? And I'd be like, no, okay, well, don't talk to me until you're moved out on your own. So, you know, I'm busting my ass looking for a job to move out on my own. We hadn't spoken months at that point because, like, every time I would do that, she'd just, like, talk to me. It'd be longer and longer before we'd speak again. So, let me see. I'd be like, yo, I'm getting this some decent money. I should be able to move out soon. Okay, good. Are you moved out? Okay, don't talk to me until you're moved out. You know, I could have used that little extra support to get through, but I was, you know, at that point, I was already falling apart as far as you know, keeping it together, because, you know, I go from having a social life and having a girlfriend and nothing, and, you know, it goes from that to nothing so suddenly for me. And, you know, it was really, I began panicking, and I also embarrassingly projected it onto others as well. Probably more than I wanted to, or than I should have. So, you know, I didn't even realize it at that time. But, you know, I think I kind of realized it by the time I lost that job, because, you know, I call it Jenga. I was falling apart. You know, it was tough. I was having difficulty keeping myself together, and my difficulty in trying to keep it together